With everything that's going on in the world right now, of course our nervous systems are fucked up. Hey y'all, welcome back to Trimester Zero. If you're new here, I'm Martisa, a Black queer feminist, homemaker, gardener, and hopefully soon to be first time mama. On this channel, I share my preconception journey, all things queer family building, wellness, and joy. If you're here for that kind of content, please like, comment, and subscribe to help us grow this community. Today is all about nervous system regulation, how I am managing stress and the presence practices that I use to do that. Right away, I want to say this is by far my hardest pillar yet. Nutrition, cool. Lab and supplement work, okay, I got that. But stress management, I'm like, who has that managed? Who has stress managed at all? So suffice to say, I don't know. I'm figuring it out. And this video is more about what that looks like than what I have actually figured out. Let's first start with the science. The body has one primary goal, and that is to survive. And when it perceives threat, whether that threat is physiological, like under-eating or over-exercising or literally being hunted by a lion, or psychosocial, like chronic anxiety, depression, or the weight of living under oppressive systems, it's going to respond accordingly. The body redirects its resources and pull the energy away from reproduction and into survival. And this doesn't mean our bodies are broken when they're doing this. It's doing exactly what it's meant to do. It's how it was designed. It's our environment and modern societies that weren't built for human or more than human kin in mind. And intellectually, like I've always understood this, could regurgitate that information, but it was a really huge wake-up call when it began to reflect in my labs. On paper and in data, I saw how my chronic stress had moved through my body, depleting my mineral stores, suppressing my immune response, causing all sort of inflammation. It was no longer just like a feeling I was having, but it was a real felt experience. It was a fact. Stress doesn't just make us tired. It systematically compromises the body's ability to defend itself, to heal, and yes, to create life. And we're living in such unnatural times, and we're not imagining it. Our nervous systems are not overreacting. Our bodies are responding to genuinely harmful conditions. Capitalism, patriarchy, white supremacy, homophobia, transphobia, systems that are actively imposed on us and showing up in our bodies and daily lives, whether we decide to name it or not. We're living in deeply unnatural times, and of course our bodies know it. Holding that truth is one of the hardest pieces to reconcile because it can so easily lead to like hopelessness and despair. What I always return to is that as a Black queer woman, my ancestors survived slavery, Jim Crow, domestic terrorism, and still cultivated joy. They nourished each other, built deeply independent communities, invested in family and beauty in the middle of conditions that I can't even really fathom and hold in my mind. They didn't wait for the world to feel safe to fully live in it, and neither can I. And that is the lineage that I'm a part of and intend to pass on to my babies. Radical acceptance for me is not pretending things are okay. It is looking clearly at what is true. This is hard. The world is in upheaval. My body is holding that. And then asking, given all of that, what do I do with what I have now? So what does this look like? When it comes to routines, I can be a little bit finicky. So I don't have like a perfect morning ritual to sell to you. What I have is like a bag of practices that I have reached for years and have cultivated since childhood. So meditation and affirmative prayer has been with me the longest. I grew up going to a unity church where both were incorporated in the service. They are my foundation and have been the most enduring over the years of my life. And lately, gardening has been a massive one. We are deep into the gardening season right now. And there's just something about being in the garden that demands a type of presence that I can't really find or cultivate or haven't learned how to find and cultivate in the rest of my life. I get completely lost in the garden, awed by it, by the design of the natural world, by the way that everything is in relationship to everything else. It connects me to my grandmommy and her garden. And it reminds me of something I think our society has done its damnness to have us forget. That we were never, ever meant to have power over. We are just one part of the bigger whole. I mean, that reorientation alone helps settle my nervous system. I also lean really, really hard on community. Our individualistic society has tried to convince us actually, that we can get our needs met alone, that self-sufficiency is the goal. But our nervous systems were never designed for isolation. We co-regulate with one another, and that's like not a metaphor. There's plenty of data backing up that when we are in safe, connected relationship with people that we trust, our bodies respond. I mean, in the parenting world, we talk about it all the time. We talk about how parents should be co-regulating with their children, helping children to learn emotional regulation through the felt safety of the relationship. But that doesn't disappear when we become adults. We need each other. Community is not like a nice thing to have. It's actually a biological imperative. And then there is righteous rage. As an Aries moon, and someone who grew up in a lineage of women who knew anger intimately, anger has always felt like a sort of home for me. I had to learn how to channel it, how to feel it, look underneath it, direct it, because anger without direction will destroy everything around it. But anger with direction and intention can drive change, drive the will to take sovereignty over your life, to buck up against systems in a way that is nourishing and not depleting. What I've learned is that I have to feel the anger first and then ask myself, what is underneath this? What is this actually about? What or who am I mad at and why? And personally, in this preconception journey, that has meant sitting with some feelings that I was not expecting to have to sit with. Mars and I are navigating the reality of wanting to start our family, but without having the gamete we need to make our baby, and all of the things that come with that. The ethics of finding a donor, the cost, the access, the systems that make something so fundamental so difficult. My first experience in the first way that it showed up was anger. And when I let myself actually feel it and see what was underneath it, it became sadness. And honestly, not just sadness, it became jealousy too. Jealous of people who got into like the housing market earlier. Jealous of the ways that so many heterosexual people can easily create their families. Sad that it was just so hard for us. And then slowly, it's the revolving door of acceptance. Here we are. What can we do with what we have? How can we find community? How can we make this process less isolating for the people who will walk this road after us? This is what channeling righteous rage looks like to me. Not suppressing it, not performing it, feeling it all the way down, and then letting it tell me what it needs. And then lastly, because we don't live in a natural world with natural stressors, sometimes extra help is needed. At least it was for me. I want to close this video with something that I am still trying to figure out and don't have a solution to yet. I have dealt with anxiety and depression since puberty. Spent most of my 20s searching for ways to manage it. I have tried it all. Spiritual practices, herbal support, holistic modalities, and I have absolutely picked up so many supportive tools along the way. And then a couple of months before I turned 30, I decided I needed some more help and sought out medication. And let me tell you, starting Zoloft significantly changed the quality of my life. And now that I'm approaching pregnancy, I have to make a decision about what that looks like moving forward. My medical doctor has made it very clear that Zoloft is considered one of the safest SRIs for pregnancy and postpartum, while my functional medicine doctor has raised some concern, specifically around the possibility of creating dependency in the growing baby and questions about altering brain chemistry during such specific development. And I am holding the truth of both of these, weighing the seriousness of preserving my own mental health when pregnancy is such a time of hormonal flux. And I know that in postpartum, I am more predisposed to postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety. The stakes of not being well emotionally and mentally during that period are not small. I'm afraid of what continuing might mean for my child's developing brain, and I'm scared of what discontinuing will mean for my own. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but my desire for this space is for it to be honest. And the honest truth is I don't have a resolution. However, what I do know is this. One thing that is critical to me going into motherhood is to trust my mother wit. That's the Black ancestral term for mother's intuition, which I first encountered through Mama Shafia Monroe's work in Mothering the Mother. I intend to go into motherhood trusting my own knowing and the knowing of my child above all else. I will gather information, I will sit with my spouse, sit with myself, and then make the best decision for me and my family. I'll tell you, some days a regulated nervous system feels like an impossible task. Not because the practices don't work, but what we are living through and under is so real. And healing is just not a destination that we get to when the world decides to cooperate. It's something that we have to actually practice every single day through it all. Next up in this series, we're going to talk about detoxing our home and our personal products. Drop a comment and let me know, how are you tending to your nervous system? What practices are keeping you going in this moment? If this video resonated with you, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, friends.